Hey you guys, it's Mimsy here. This video I'm going to show you real quick, or walk you through how myself and my husband repaired our septic system. I'm not a plumber, I'm not a septic professional, I'm just a homeowner who had an issue with my septic system for a while, and I watched a few videos and gained the confidence to do this after watching some YouTube videos. So I decided to go ahead and publish this video because that's how I learned to do it. So I figured if I could help somebody with my project, then that's what I wanted to do. Like I said, I'm not a professional, but I know that a septic system is pretty simple. It's just a gravity fed or a gravity system. I don't have a lift station or a pump out here, so and I knew that it was pretty simple, so I just went for it. So here goes. Out my front door. So this is the front of my house, and my kids' bathroom is right there inside that window, and so the plumbing pipe comes out of the house somewhere right here. And so for a while we've had stinky water coming up out of the ground right there, and we've just had the septic company come and pump it, and then that works for a couple of weeks and then it fills up and then we're back in the same boat. So we've been avoiding it and just really not using this front toilet for a long time. So we finally decided to come out here and see if we could try to remedy this situation ourselves, because I watched a video a couple days ago from a man who fixed his own septic and explained how to do it. And so after watching his video, I realized I can probably do this since I know where everything's at. So the water was coming up out of the ground right there, but when they would come to pump, the pump truck would come and they pop the hose into the ground right here, which this is the tank, and there's the hole into the tank, and that's the lid right there upside down. So we knew that the whole septic tank was right about here. So Joe started digging and found the edge of the septic tank for me before I even came out here. He dug up that whole top of the tank there, so we knew where the edges were. So I knew that the drain field was probably going out into the yard that way. I knew that if I just found where the pipe came out of the tank, we could follow that line out and either clear it with a garden hose, or try to remedy it, or take that pipe out and replace it with a new pipe. So we got that dug out, and I figured that the pipe was probably somewhere right here on this side. When we got down a little bit, we found that box. So then we knew that it was probably one step down there. Sure enough, we kept digging, dug out this whole area, kept digging, and we found the pipe coming out of the front of that box. And you know what kind of pipe it was? Clay pipe. And I'll show you this clay pipe. So there's the pile of clay pipe that we took out of the ground. There's one right there. And here's the pile of clay pipe. This is how they used to do septics back in the day. And these pipes were just sitting lined up like this. I'll show you. They just had them sitting in the ground like that, with the spaces in between, and the water just leaked out in between the pipes, which I was shocked. I YouTubed it, never saw, no other YouTube videos show septic systems with clay pipe sections. I couldn't find it anywhere. I was like, what the heck is this? I didn't know this was a thing, and how on earth these things drained at all. Look at this. This is how they all were. Completely, that one's not even full. They were completely full. Like that. Full. Nothing could flow through them. What we had to do for the first couple days of digging was take our pond pump, which is not appropriate for this, but it worked, and we had it, so we used it. I put screening around it to keep stuff from getting sucked up into the motor, but that's what we had to do because our water in that big tank was so high in there that it was overflowing out and into the ground. So every time we dug around there, water would just come out and fill up the trench that we dug. So we stuck the pond pump in there and pumped it out for a couple days until we got to the point where the water level in the tank came down to the level of the lower tank. Then we kept digging lower, and then water would come out of the lower tank and into the ditch. We pumped that out and just let it drain a couple days till we finally got to the point where the water in both of our tanks was lower, so that it didn't drain out into our trench. So we finally, after probably 4 days of digging and pumping and digging and pumping, the water finally drained out enough that we could put in the new lines. So we went to Home Depot and bought this perforated PVC and a Y and an elbow. So we haven't bought it yet, but we need to get an elbow to attach to that pipe that's going inside of there, so that that elbow will go down into the pipe like that, because that way the toilet paper, when the water rises, the toilet paper sits on top, and when the water rises, the toilet paper won't flow out into your pipe. That's why you need the elbow on the end of your pipe. So we will, so we've got two 20-foot lengths of pipe there, so we'll have 40 feet on that run, and then we've got one 20-foot there. And then the next thing, after we get our drain line dug all the way so that one will go all the way out, the next thing we're gonna do is go get gravel, and we need to put 6 inches of gravel underneath each of these runs. 6 inches of actually what we're going to do is fill this up with gravel until there's only 6 inches left to get it to grade, and that last 6 inches we'll use the dirt. So that's the next step is, oh, we need to get that fabric that you put underneath there. So we'll get that drainage fabric that goes underneath. We'll put it up the sides of the bank, put our gravel in there, and then once we get to the 6 inches below grade, we'll cover that over, the gravel, with that fabric, and then we'll put the dirt on top of that so that it'll drain out that dirt. So now we are unloading all the rock. We got the pipes in the ground. We made sure that they are sloped down 1/4 or 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch per foot, and we got 6 inches of rock underneath. Okay, and we got 6 inches of rock underneath both pipe, and they're both sloped down slightly to the end. And we unloaded 1 full yard of rock, and we're gonna go get some more. Here, we had to plug up this hole right here. The hole coming out of the tank was probably about 6 inches in diameter, and our pipe is 4 inches. So we had to put cement there in order to fill that hole. You don't want to put cement into the hole, obviously into your tank, but we're going to close up that hole. So that's how the cement looks. And so now we're gonna go ahead and get some more rock, and then we bought all that fabric right there, which will go over the top of the rock before we put the dirt on top of that. I couldn't find any of the fabric that they sell particularly for this. I checked Home Depot, Lowe's, and another hardware store in my area, and none of them have it specifically for this purpose. They have weed fabric, but I've been told that you don't want to use weed fabric because the water doesn't drain through that. So I bought this pipe tubing, and I cut it in half so that we can lay it over the top of the rock. It's called a drain sleeve. And I got this at Lowe's. So I cut it open because it was a tube, and we'll lay that over the top of the rocks. So that's really all there is to it. Now, again, my system is pretty simple. It's just gravity fed. I don't have a pump out here. We don't have a lift station out here. So it's very simple. And this system out here is only for our bathrooms. We actually have 2 other septic systems on our property. One that drains is a system just for my kitchen. And then I have a separate system in the backyard that takes my laundry room and my laundry room bathroom. So this one is, that's why I think that I can get away with just the 60-foot drain line. Otherwise, if you have a large house and obviously you have a bunch of people and only one system, that is probably not going to be enough. But for us, because we've owned this house for 12 years and we've been using those clay pipes out here, this is probably going to be better than it's ever been. So yeah, so that's how we did it. So hopefully this might inspire you a bit, or confirm that you need to hire somebody to do it. It's not hard, or it's not complicated. It's just back-breaking work. It just takes a long time. We spent probably a week, and I'm not saying the full week. We'd come out for a couple hours, get to a point where it filled up with water, then we'd let it drain. We'd come out the next day for a couple hours until we got to the point where it was dry. So this took us probably a solid week, working a couple hours here, a couple hours there, the 2 of us. Or I'd come out for a couple hours when I had time, and he'd come out for a couple hours. So it took us time, but it was broken for, it was coming up out of the ground for a while. So now it's fixed, and Fantastic.